Hello, 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 hello. That's usually hola, but I decided to say hello this evening. Hello, how is everyone? Make sure you guys can see me sitting back. I am once again coming to you from my iPad. Getting used to it a little bit. Uh, a little bit. A very little bit. Can you guys hear me? Hopefully you can hear me. Maybe somebody will come in and they will confirm. Other than that, just jumping on. Appreciate anybody who comes in this evening. One of the things that I wanted to make sure I was going over is, what we are doing in the community. So, what you working on? Who are you working with? Diamonds around the world. Thank you for coming. Um, Starting off tonight, we're just wondering what everyone's working on. Are you doing a collab right now? Are you doing a cross stitch project, a crochet project? Are you playing with clay, planners? There's so much that we have branched off into. If you guys went to my sister crafting crime daily earlier this evening, she kind of went through a lot of the crafts that she covers, and I saw that Mickey and some other people mentioned miniatures. I want to dive back into that. That was one of the crafts that, that was back in my adventurous days when I wanted to try any and everything. Mary, how are you this evening? So I wanted to try any and everything. We did touch on miniatures. Our baby sister, Crashly, she was the miniatures, fun pal and the queen of miniatures and stuff. And she had done a couple of them. When she did a few of them, she made it sound fun and things. So we wanted to give it a try. We had a miniatures like Zoom group where we came together. We got together on a Saturday, like 9 o'clock in the morning, my time. It might have even been earlier. It might have been 9 o'clock Central. I remember I was in that classroom. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's like a whole work shift, and we were still like trying to figure stuff out. We turned into general contractors. We turned into electricians. We worrying about OSHA, because we was having catastrophes. I'm like, oh my gosh, this not safe. We're working with batteries and electrical wiring, and we're trying to wire these miniature houses. It was crazy. So, if you got the real in-depth detail ones, the ones that aren't cheap, like 9.95 on Wish, if you got those and they're big rooms and they're gonna have lamps and lights and things like that, you really were laying foundation, laying insulation and things. Rebecca and I had the bright idea that we were going to do a camper. I have no idea why, none at all. But stay tuned. I'm gonna go over that craziness. I see more people coming in and joining, so I wanted to reach out and say hello. Mary says, I'm glad to see you back live. Thank you so very much. I actually came back last week. I had a great time last week. Kind of, jumped in and went over what I've been up to. So if you get a chance, go back and kind of watch that. Went over just some segments and things like that, and then kind of reminded you guys that me and Lizzie, our summer has ended, and we'll be back doing our bi-weekly morning laugh show. So if you guys tuned into the last morning laugh show, that was our return. Um, Lizzie, if you guys have been faithful and watching, you guys know I kept saying, let's have segments. Let's do a segment on this. Let's do a segment on that. Lizzie set the live up. Straight up, she set the live up. And the live starts at 7 a.m. my time. So that's usually 10 o'clock Lizzie's time. I get up and I already have what I call an itinerary. The itinerary, like this what we doing? Boom, 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 goodbye. Follow the rules. so so if you guys watch that show, that's what I'm like. I don't know. What are we talking about? Like, it's your agenda. Let's get back into your planner, your calendar. So definitely wanted to kind of, go over that, and get a couple of laughs off the bat. Hello, Tammy. What's up, cuz? I feel like it's been forever. Look at the families all here, my nut. Um, we are just leaving dipping time. So I was trying to get set up because when I joined on Crafting Crime Daily Show, I was on my phone, my mobile phone. And so I wanted to get set up because I'm trying to get a little bit better. I really like this new setup. It's not as long drawn out and detailed. So I used to have to get my laptop up, booted up. I bought the laptop. It was special made by Dell. And I bought it in 2015. I think, yeah, 2015. So the laptop already 10 years old. Now, for what I paid for it, because of how much it cost, the laptop still is like 2.5 years old to me. Um, I paid over 1,300, and it's not a gaming laptop. It's a Dell laptop, but I had so much stuff built into it. Top of the line, I could do, Oracle and things like that set up on there. I got the full office Microsoft Office suite. The enterprise version is like probably $500-600. So I had all of that built into it. My prior laptop, I think I walked into Walmart and I got it for like $179 and was done. Um, so it's no better, a deal than when you get that kind of a deal. But then I moved on and I just had a lot of crazy setups and things like that. So if you guys remember, it would take me forever. The show would very rarely start on time. And I had a lot of what I call technical difficulties. So I think I have that under wrap by going live on my iPad. It's just sitting there. It's already ready to get. You don't have to boot it up. I don't have to go through as much. Um, and for now, the camera works. The camera has stopped working on my other on my laptop. So went out and got one of these big giant. Now this is a huge iPad. I mean, this thing is huge. It's bigger than the Pro. The first Pro that came out. That thing was huge. This one is big. It's way bigger than that. I feel like it's about a 15-inch laptop. So it's definitely there. But obviously it's an iPad, so it's on the iOS operating system, and there's some limitations. We don't have access to a actual desktop like you would on a PC, and it recognizes that. So I have that limitation. I can't share like how we used to do the what's in your cart. We had to work around. We just kind of show you our mobile phone. But other than that, we used to could kind of show you the screen and things like that. So that'll probably be important when it comes to my contest and things as I get back into my lives and we go back over items. So with that said, want to know what you guys are doing. Like, how are you crafting? What are you working on? Are you doing a collab right now? Everyone finishing up kind of like the Great Escapes. I know that's ending. We have the Drills and Chills going on. The Chuck Pinson Chuck Along, that's probably underway. What are you guys working on? Let's talk about that. One of the things that I tried to do the last couple of years, like I had items that were, new for 2023, new for 2024, new for 2025. I had things like that I had worked on. Last year I had two pins. I had Lizzie's pin that she just named at the June retreat. Lizzie's pin ended up being called Cotton Candy Delight. And it was like various pinks. Unlike the it is a little bit different than the color because it had a purple in it also. Um, but she did end up naming the pin, and there you go. The pin was also sponsored and Dip in Time and J Rob's collab Sparkle All the Way. Same colors. We just never had a name to the pin. Oh, sorry about that. So we never had a name to the pin. We finally got that name. So that is something new for 2025. Some other stuff. Oh, I did create a new pin. Um, trying to, I tried to get Rebecca to name the pen. Um, she didn't come up with anything. Um, and she was saying sunset and paradise and different colors and things like that. So I think we're landing on sunset paradise. This is Rebecca's pen. This is J Rob's pen. If you guys can see that. I did try and do one step a little bit different. This is the why like my feel went out. So that's glitter. I added a glitter to the resin. Same colors, just a glitter to the resin. And I'll go ahead and show the difference again. And mute it or with all the glitter in the resin. What do you guys think? The name would still be the same. So going back in while you guys are answering what you're working on and while you're voting on resin with glitter or the muted kind, I'm going to read through the chat. So we have, let's see, um that's Muttnut saying hello to everyone. Tammy said, hi, Muttnuts. Dipping Time is in the house. Hi, Rhonda. Hola, Princess Tia. Kayleen, how are you? Linda's in the house. Hope runs deep. So that's a Chucky Pinson. And are you doing the chuck along? Or that's just what you're working on? I did do Hope Runs Deep and Faith Runs Deep. Those two. But I have Geez, I stopped counting. I think at 33 or 34 of the Chuck Pensons. There was at one point where whether it spoke to me or not, I was buying it. uh, Tammy says I couldn't find anything on Mindy's about a capture by radiance. Just that she has many that she needed to get done. Yeah, so I haven't spoken with Janae and her sister in a couple of weeks. Captured by Radiance. I usually have a cart. I do have a cart, I think of 6 or 7 with them. I've shown the cart, I've added like 1 or 2 here or there over the summer, but Lizzie is one of the affiliates, so that's why, we feature them as much as we do on both of our channels. Got a lot going on, doing 10 events this month using 4 canvases that are tied to more than one event. Well, there you go. I will tell you, my psychiatrist and my therapist, all day long, every day, that was their recommendation. No matter what they wanted to talk to me about, what avenue we need to explore for this communication, it always it always ended with what kind of crafts are you into. We got some that we want to recommend to for you. Just that it's soothing, it's relaxing, it's healing, it's calming, and it provides a lot of people that peace, that zen, that serenity. So that became like almost at the end of any session or appointment I had to attend, that almost always became the recommendation. And it was so detailed. Like at one point I was getting local retreat information. I didn't even know, I never thought to look into going to a local retreat. That's crazy. And if I were also being honest, I've only gone to cross stitch and diamond painting retreats. It's never dawned on me to go to a polymer clay retreat. It's not even dawned on me to look it up. They have a lot of them, more than they do diamond painting. Crochet, quilting. I know about quilting retreats. I think we all know about the quilting retreats, but they have sewing. People still sew. And that's difficult because of stores like 10 Below, Dots, Rave, G&G. Those, real cost efficient stores, I feel took the necessity of sewing clothing out. I know once I went to a store and I could get a whole dress for $10 or less. There was like no need because buying fabric and stuff by the yard, and you need 3 to 4 yards to make a dress. You still paying 15 to $20. So it just, it kind of lost its luster. Then you got to put in the time, to actually sew the outfit. So yeah, I do remember those. Um, I read that. Hi Don, how are you? Rhonda said, can't wait to receive my pen also. Oh, right now working on YouTube, blog, and Facebook stuff. Um, oh, they're saying hi to Rhonda and Dipper. That's true. That is true. Hi, Dipper. Oh, we're working on a Cubisec. I don't know if that's Cubesic, Cubit check. I've said it all, Dawn, but um I am a part of her. She has a Facebook group, and I'm on there also. So 4 events for the canvas. That's pretty neat though, to be honest. um it's been a long time since I took one canvas and kind of spread it across multiple events. I think that's smart. Lately I've just been doing small, like tiny. If it's not the gems, the little tiny gems, then it's like one of those little 7.99 diamond paintings. I did last week unbox like two Amazon diamond paintings. And then I also did a cross stitch project. So just kind of comparing. I know a lot of us do that, especially if we're on no buys. Maybe we can, kind of factor in some Amazon buy or Temu buys. I don't shop on Temu that much, but Rebecca she is an avid fan. And because she's an avid fan, I'm shocked that she's still going strong with them. But she did explain tonight that there's different stores that, I guess present their product line through Temu and things. And so if you're buying from a collective group of stores that are, connected, you might be able to save on shipping and handling and, extra tariff charges and costs. Or if they already have the item locally in like a Temu warehouse or something. Now I did see that we were putting up a Temu warehouse here in Vegas. It's on the outskirts of Vegas and stuff. And I remember when I seen it, I'm like, oh Lord. But it was last year when I seen it. So I'm pretty sure at this point we could sort of shop locally, probably for the most popular items. Tammy says that I'm going to buy the dragon and I'm hoping they come out with a fall diamond painting. Dragons for my grandson for Christmas. It only comes in round, and I don't really care for rounds, but for him, I will. I'm there with you. I'm not a fan of rounds at all. Um, I do have a lot of rounds, and like Rebecca said earlier on her show, you know, what do we do? Will we ever plan to get around to those? Kind of touched on the subject last week. I challenged Lizzie. This was a good challenge, and you guys, if you want to go back and watch the show, you can kind of keep me honest. But I believe the challenge is that she would do a an AliExpress double-sided adhesive diamond painting. Um, she has some in her stash, and I believe she said that if I did one, she would also. So I gotta find. I know I got some 15 by 20s around here somewhere. I gotta pull one of those out. I gotta maybe think about it as if it were like two of the little gems. Dipping Time says, going forward, captured by radiance will only have squares. That's excellent news, if you ask me. Thank you. My prayers have been answered. um, I, I kind of got in trouble a few years ago online. I'm going to say who I was talking to because you guys know I don't like controversy. But somebody posed a question about rounds versus squares, and I answered the question. And they wanted to know who, what we felt was our favorite, and on top of that, who we thought was the best square company. And so we touched on this last week. For me, hands down, all time has always been Ever Moment. Ever Moment is a company that sold their double-sided adhesive canvases on AliExpress, but they were just a good company. Your squares were beautiful. People have from time to time said that they had a couple of, wonky drills in their batch, but it definitely wasn't enough that caused frustration or a movement. You guys remember the, the Drillmageddon movement? So definitely was not creating a movement or anything like that. And then this was another time. My second choice was Dreamer Designs. And I felt like I was being challenged to kind of defend my lineup. Um, with Diamond Art Club being third, and I put those in as the top three. And I felt like when Dreamer Designs first started, you guys remember, they were square only company. So if we're asking what our preference is, and then we're lining up the companies that we felt went hand in hand, one, two, three. Obviously, as a square only company, you should be top of the line, top of your game, and things like that. Again, my favorite was Ever Moment, but I did feel like when they were squares only, I didn't have any complaints. I liked their canvas. They were poured glue and things way ahead of the time, just like Diamond Art Club was. And so that was like I said, I'm bringing it up, I'm laughing because I felt like I was having to defend. I think I ended up taking that down, because I kept having to defend. Like, people was really like, what you mean, oh, do you gonna put them before, and I'm like, well, yeah, and all day long I felt like, oh, this is horrible, so I try to steer clear of that kind of controversy and things like that. um But the question, preference of rounds versus squares, that did kind of bring that up. uh, Dipping Time also says on the low, there are 12 images in production and 15 in hand rendering. Wow. So, obviously we are all in love with hand rendered, it feels more natural, more realistic. So that's all excellent news. Thank you. Rhonda, if you can go ahead and put your discount code in, that way, if anybody wants to kind of peruse over there, like I said, right now, that's really, well, besides Dreamer Designs, you guys know, and I didn't pick them second because of this. I've only been an affiliate for 2 years. But just so you guys are aware, and I'm, being realistic and honest, and the information that I presented on my preferences, that was over 3 years ago. So, I'm also an affiliate of Dreamer Designs. I thank you very much. Some people have been shopping, and when y'all shop and use this code TF15, I get a commission check. And so I'm mentioning that because I want y'all to keep shopping. What's in your cart? And is it with Dreamer Designs? I think it's important to mention that. So no shame, no shade. Hi, Sissy. Rebecca's in the house. How are you doing? I didn't see the two new releases today. I will definitely have to get in. I have, and I showed that last week, but I do have a nice Captured by Radiant shopping cart. And you guys know, usually once a year, but last year I did it twice. I will fill my cart up with what I consider to be must-haves. And when I get to a particular price point, then I just go and purchase the things that are in my cart. I have a full-on crafting art gallery that I'm, buying my paintings and things for. And my art gallery is just so that from time to time I can shop my stash and I can reconnect to the feeling I had when I first seen the artwork. Like, oh, especially if it doesn't get discontinued. uh, Rebecca, Tammy, the only person you see. Hi, how you doing? Hey, Susan, how are you? Tammy says, I only saw one Kiss My Craft. I will look for the other. Okay, Rhonda says, the code can be multiple times. It's captured by radiance.com. The code is Dipper 24. So hopefully, and then she put the links in so that you guys are able to see. So make sure that you guys are copying and pasting that into your browser. and just having a little, good time shopping and things. Mindy is talking about doing an event to do Capture by Radiance canvases next month. That's a great idea, so I'm hoping that we get that, and we're able to run with that. Like I said, they're usually, well, they're one of my channel sponsors, so but they usually sponsor for the last 3 years. They've sponsored um, all of my collabs and events that I participate in. So definitely appreciate that. Make sure we share some love, and support. And we head over to the links and we make sure that we're perusing some beautiful crafted, work. I like that they give you a lot of diamonds. You get the little unicorn crust duster diamonds. You get a lot of bling that comes in the packages, so much so that I'm wondering, is anybody feeling like, oh, they gave enough? I may not even have to buy bling to put into this canvas or this, upgrade. Are you guys feeling like that's what's going on? While you answer, I'm still waiting on the vote, guys. For Rebecca's pen, it says yes, Mindy will be working on Blooming Knowledge by Rose Profit, and any Capture by Radiance canvas will work. Well, there you go. As a channel sponsor, I have several. We did a vote early, like within the first 15 minutes and things like that. And the vote was depends. Um, this is Sunset Paradise. And I believe what we were voting on is the muted versus the glitter pen. It's the same colors, but obviously this one has just more glitter infused in, and this one hasn't been sealed yet. And so if you guys can help me, like what would your preference be and things like that. One of the kits has new specialty drills, Unicorn Kisses. Those glow. So that's what I mean about the diamonds that you get from Capture by Radiance. You get a lot. They have a large color palette. And that's probably because they're hand rendered. There's just beautiful canvases. The other thing is they offer a lot of, when it comes to like blinging options and things. They don't have like one AB and two specialty. They'll have like five, and then three of the dust and things. You get a lot to bling with when you purchase a canvas for them. So definitely check that out. Tammy says, I guess I read her transcript wrong. I read it as she has lots of Capture by Radiance and she needs to do them. I will go check it out again. Linda says she prefers the muted. Okay. So this is the muted. Um, and then obviously when they get sealed, they won't have as much glitter. They'll just be sealed. They'll look glossy, but they won't have any glitter and things. And it was, something I was trying, every year I have something new. This is last year's pen. And as you can see, same color choices. Some are marbled a little bit more than others. This one had a lot of foil glitter in it, and this one didn't have as much. If you're able to see. So what do you guys think when it comes to the foil? Yes, no, yes to the foil, or no, just, very sporadically. Those would help me out. Again, this was last year's. This is Butterfly's Delight. It's made up of all my favorite color choices, and definitely, it was definitely fun. So Mutnut says she loves a muted one. Also, don't own a Capture by Radiance canvas, can't afford to order from shops on a tight budget. I'm lucky if I have enough money to order from DAC on Amazon every few months. Yep, that's why last week I did some Amazon canvases. If you didn't see that, I unboxed a few of them, where I check sticky. I very seldomly unbox. They're rounds, again, not as not I don't have a preference for doing rounds at all, but when I need something to just kind of take my mind off of things, something to distract, it does move fast. They move very, very fast, so I do like that. Let's see. Moving over from there, Mutna says, I own, I believe, four of your pens. Yes, I do think you have four. Linda says she can't see. And Mutnut says she loved the foil. Thank you very much. So I had an update last week. The feeling, is starting to come back into my hand. I did have, another incident. I was, cutting the sandwich and boop, knife went in and I didn't know I had cut myself. But the feeling for the most part from the medication is coming back, my fingertips and stuff. So I can actually, like, I can feel that there's no glitter. Before I had sent out some pins earlier this year, and that was that. You see me? Can you hear me? Hopefully you can. I'm not sure. Are you still frozen? I hope we're not still frozen. What when I froze, was it like with an ugly face, or did I have? I'm back. Look at that technology. Um, Rhonda says, Mutna says, I own over 90 Amazon canvases. 90. So your stash is getting up there. Rhonda says they also have crystal drills you can purchase. If you ask nicely, they can assist you with enhancement ideas and you can add them in your purchase. See, that I love. I definitely love that. So enhancements, not everybody has like a Bible and they walk around where they, mind is in this tunnel. Like man bun, and they're always thinking, I'm gonna lift this and I'm going to remove that, I'm gonna pull this in, I'm gonna find a light source. Not everyone's thinking like that. They're just like, oh, this will be pretty here, this is purple, I want a purple crystal or something. And I think that if you're getting them directly from the diamond painting company, that's something that they're able to really kind of see and hone in on probably soon as they get the canvas in mind. Oh, this is really nice. It's 2D, two-dimensional, but with some enhancements, we can take it 3 or 4. Well, we can't take it 4D. That's where it's the canvas is actually interacting with you. So, but you will see that online. You'll see 5D, 4D. Um, we just mean 3D, where it feels like, you can lift the objects and things out of the canvas. Uh, uh, so those are all great thoughts and ideas. And hopefully, I asked them to assist with Phoenix. Um, put this up. Asked them to assist with Phoenix. Can't wait to work on it. Oh, that's going to be great. So with that said, obviously earlier I also posed a question. A lot of you, commented that you're working on certain collabs right now. You're doing multiple paintings across multiple. I think Mudnuts is doing the most. She came in with 10 across, I think, 4 collabs. That's a lot. How do you structure your crafting time? Um, One thing I will say about Rebecca, like she structures something different every day. Like she has a day where she does Lego. She has a day where she does crochet. She did say she wasn't doing a lot of cross stitch and things like that, but then she has days where she's diamond painting and things. How do you structure your crafting day? Are you crafting, multiple hours? Or are you only crafting on particular days? Um, One of the things I had started to do, I don't recommend doing this, but I had started to filter my crafting out into the living room. Um, I started off, because I work remote, I had a desk where I work from, and then I could get up from that desk and go a little further into my bedroom. And I had another desk in there that I was doing all of my crafting from, everything. Going online, I, if I wanted to watch a movie, if I wanted to diamond paint, or if I wanted to play with clay. And the worst part about having only one area is you have to take up one craft to work on another. So are you guys doing that? Like, is that how you craft? Are you only working on one, or do you have multiple? And what do you do when you have multiple crafts? Do you have to, take one away to put the other one down? Do you have specific areas? So that hindered, I think, me a lot when it came to crafting and things, because I wouldn't want to pick up one, whatever I was working on, put it away to work on another. It became a hassle. So, let's see. Rhonda says, just an FYI, the dragon image has no 310s. Okay. Working on a puzzle, diamond painting, and I'm starting beading tonight. I think that's gonna be my new passion also. The um so the beading came in because I wanted to like bead and kind of learn how to make my own charms. And I had again, there are a lot of polymer clay, ceramics, um, retreats and classes. So I had went to one where they obviously they were showing you how to make charger plates and how to make cups and things like that. But some of the other things that they teach in the class is like how to make your own clay beads. And so stimulating gemstones is something that I was trying to see, is it something that I would enjoy? That's how I fell in love with playing with clay in the first place. Is it something I would enjoy? So I'm there with you on that. If you do anything on your channel, let me know. I'll be there, because I think beading is definitely going to be another opportunity for me to have an addiction. um, Mutnut says, I have what I call whip days that I work on a canvas, and then I have my live days where I rotate out what whip I work on in the live. Now I have 9 whips right now. I may be an overachiever. So Tammy said, Rhonda, that she is so excited. You provided some great information and it's making her excited. Susan Mascarenas, she says, I'm trying to get back to it. I need to. Haven't done anything since October when I moved. So I'm still trying to find everything. I definitely think since you moved and you're in the process of setting up something, I would have never imagined the peace and serenity that came from just having a craft space in a craft area. So right now, this is my diamond painting desk. And then directly behind me, and I pointed this out before, but this is my clay station. When you open it up, it has all of the recipes already for the different clay families that I have. And so it's 20 drawers altogether. And I trying to have, kind of some organization. The next station over, that's my resin curing area. So I do have the resin boxes and things like that. It just allows me to have an area where I can put the projects in, cure them, and they're out of the way. So it's not, again, on a particular section. Just ahead and off to my left. So just heading off to my left, that's my clay station. And the best part about it is I don't have to move anything. I do have, there's a big giant desk here, and I have two separate clay stations. One where I'm conditioning the clay and putting the colors and things together. The other side I use for kind of measuring and if I'm going to cane and things like that. So it's coming together, but I do recommend, Susan, if you can, to have like separate sections and things like that. So I'm completely out of the living room because I had started spilling over into the living room. I didn't feel like taking the stuff out of the living room either. So now, I have am I going to diamond paint? If I am, boom, I just sit down and it's here. If I'm going to play with clay, I just, scoot my chair over and boom. So I have separate sections, and it does bring you, some peace and some serenity if you have the space. Rhonda says, "Ooh, maybe we could be together." I think that's a great idea. I do have I got the tools, so I got my wires and things like that. I do have some of the elastics, some of the ropes, obviously. I did like a beaded purse probably about 30 years ago. I was doing, the tiny seed bead projects. And oh man, I was doing earrings. I was working for items to send to military troops. And so I used to create all of these items because they're deployed, and they don't, sometimes they may be deployed somewhere where they can't purchase gifts to send home to significant others, family members, and things. And so I had a small business. I had a men's line, and I used to, take the time to create products and items that I would box up and ship overseas to deployment areas, and then they could pick from those items and then resend them as gifts to their loved ones and things. And so I made like seed bead purses one year. I've done earrings. And then at one point I sent I wasn't great at creating fragrances for females, but I was really great at creating, different musk and products that men like. And so, but one year I worked on scents and fragrances, plumeria and things like that, jasmine for women, and sent those items. So, just trying to help them with ways to, still give to their significant other something different, something unique. Um, so let me go back. Just scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Linda says, I am working on 3 right now in my craft room, and I have a desk. I utilize a sewing table and bought a lap desk for small paintings to use on the couch. That's a great idea, especially like, do we still watch TV while we're diamond painting, while we're crafting, or what is it that we're doing? But that's a great idea to have a second desk, especially for smaller canvases. That way you are able to kind of sit down, prop your feet up. I like that a lot. Susan says, oh, I just bought a beading loom. There you go, Rhonda. We got a third. I pulled my loom out tonight and actually used it. Oh, man. So I would have loved to have had a loom back then. I literally had my strands and I was taping them down. I had a cardboard piece of paper and it was starting to get flimsy. I remember I kept putting other cardboard pieces to the back. I did it the old fashioned way. um, I saw the looms when they started coming out, and I'm like, oh, this would have been helpful. Uh, Rhonda says, love how you have different sections. Fun time, love beading, dipping time. Mutnut says, I just diamond paint now. Don't do any other crafts anymore. And Rhonda says, a beaded purse. Yes. Yeah, I did a beaded purse. That was a lot of fun. Obviously, it's just like, we're talking about counted cross stitch earlier on Rebecca's channel. You can't make any mistakes. That's the only bad thing. You can't be off count when it comes to beading and things like that. Uh, so, but the finished product is gorgeous, and a lot of those projects are easier to bling because you buying the pearlized, glitter seed bead off the gate and things. So a lot of those projects are already blung out with glitter and fun colors. Susan says, yes, Tia, my goal is just to make my place into a studio. Now that's next. Obviously for me, the only couple of things I have to get to make me feel like this would be a studio is probably my own, polymer clay oven. And then on top of my own personal polymer clay oven, I would want an area to where I could really hone in on ceramics and pottery. And right now, even though I have a pottery wheel, I don't use it and I don't throw because it's messy. You get water and muddy clay everywhere. So if you guys all saw that scene in Ghost, it was a beautiful scene, right? It was a messy scene, I'm pretty sure, because when the wheels start going, as soon as you put the water, it's flicking. And so it's carpeted in here in my craft room, and I don't want to flick. So that would make me feel like it was a true studio. uh, Don says, what string is used to restring bracelets? It all depends. You can use wire. They have copper wire. Well, all kinds of wire. I seen a set earlier where they had the stainless steel, they had the copper, they had an onyx wire, or you could use, they have elastics, they have cord, different cording and things. And then I have one, it is, it's gonna kill me, the name of it. It looked like a tiny brown like rope. I forget what it's called, but there's several different things you can use to restring bracelets. They have elastic also. It just depends on the style of the bracelet and what you're using. Nylon, there's like a thin nylon string that you can use. You can Google and they will show you the various jewelry medium, as what I'll call it, the medium. But it's like wire, so you can string it with wire, copper, stainless steel. You bend the wire. You can do the elastic, and then you can, put the seed beads on yourself. Or you can use a loom and create, like, it looks like you're creating, because you're going back up through and connecting them, real stone round beads. Oh, those would be beautiful, real beautiful. I always had a preference um for the like the nylon, translucent nylon. It's thin. Almost look like you can see through it. It's like a thin plastic and things. I like seating with that. So it just depends on the project that you are making also. I made actual projects, like I made change purses, I made regular, crossbody purses, things like that, because like I said, I was trying to create gifts that these military men would want to purchase and send on to their loved ones. Yes, Tammy, embroidery thread. Yep, embroidery thread that can be used as well. So other than that, so we have definitely, kind of gone into how we craft, into whether or not we have craft areas. I do like hearing that, no matter what, we are finding a way to craft, whether you have a desk, whether you have a lap desk, whether you diamond painting in your dining room and things like that. When I first got started, for me, I always had a dedicated area. Remember that I had an intake area. I was ordering so many diamond paintings at one point, and I was waiting on them to come in. They were coming in from Wish. They were coming in from AliExpress. I had an area for intake. So when like diamond paintings would come in, I had an area where I would sit them, and then I had another basket next to it. It was like an assembly line. That basket was, I had opened it and I had marked on it. Remember, the diamond paintings used to come in a big white envelope, like a padded envelope. So I would write on the outside. That let me know that I already had, opened it and looked at it. Then the next station was whether or not it was kitted up or not. because I used to kit them up in anticipation of going from one project right into the other. One project right into the other. I probably right now have at least 10 kitted up in my Harbor Freight containers that became outdated and things like that. But at this point, they're already kitted up. So what do, right? How many of you guys kit up in advance? You have a stash of kitted up diamond painting. And if you have done that, what has prevented you from actually moving on and working the canvas? So for me, new canvases came out. And so when new canvases came out, this old one kind of lost its luster, unfortunately. Oh, so sad. This was so cute, but oh, look at this new one that just came out. So then, you get pushed to the back burner as something new goes on the front one. Okay, all off for a late night work session for my YouTube channel and get stuff ready for my 2 p.m. Eastern time live for tomorrow. Well, thank you very much for coming out. Obviously, we got a few minutes to go. I won't give you a half an hour goodbye tonight. I'll let you guys know that. Just gonna be kind of rounding out. So I'm trying to come up with this "What's in Your Stash" segment. I've been trying to get Rebecca to come up with some ideas. So you guys stay tuned for that. I think that that's going to be fun, especially for, the people who are on no buys. We get a lot of people who are like, oh, I want to no buy. So doing the what's in your cart, it kind of makes it like perpetually, and so I want to kind of focus on what's in your stash so that we can all revisit and just have a good time, reminiscing about why we wanted this painting in the first place. Cynthia, how are you this evening? Cynthia says, I have about 15 kitted up. Wanted to do it at the time, but something else got my attention. That's exactly what happened to me, unfortunately. So I got to a point where when they came in, if they was cute, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do. I used to have, me and my friend Billy used to have a schedule. Like, oh, I'm gonna do this one in June. This one's gonna start probably around August 15th. I could get that done by September 10th. We had a schedule like that. And I remember one time he went and counted all his diamond paintings, talking about he'll be done by September of 2028. This had to be 2020 or 2021 at that point. So that was real. I mean, it don't sound that bad now. It's 2025, but let's go back. It was 2020. That sounded like a whole lot. How many do you guys average in a year, like diamond paintings? At one point, in I think 2018 or 2019, I did 40. And that was the most that I've ever done. It started gradually coming down after that. But how many do you average? You know what I think occurred also? I mean, that was back when I would do 15 by 20, 20 by 20, 30 by 30, 40 by 40, 40 by 50 started to become like the norm. I'll never forget when most of the canvases that I was working on, a lot of people did 30 by 40s, but they became the 40 by 50s. I just became the norm. And then the next thing from there, they got ridiculous. 60 by 80 became medium. I'm like, what? So I do remember early on, we probably did more because the average canvas size that we worked on was a lot smaller and things. So that's what I'm going to attribute it to. As the canvases got bigger, you're doing less and less. And because it's taking longer to get it complete, that's probably where a lot of people are, experiencing, these slowdowns and these burnouts, if you will, is because they're, it's taking longer. So you don't get that, ooh, look at this, that sense of accomplishment as much because you're not completing as many. So keep that in mind when you guys are choosing your projects and things like that. Revisit your stash because I'm pretty sure you have a 20 by 20 or a 30 by 40 from AliExpress and get reacquainted with those headaches. Because once you go back and you work one with double-sided adhesive, guess what? You're going to really appreciate Captured by Radiance or Dreamer Designs or Diamond Art Club. What do you guys think about that? I think that's a great way to bring an appreciation on. Linda says, I got two kitted that I had planned on doing, however, didn't finish others on time. And that's usually what happens. So then we start pushing projects back. And once we start pushing projects back, it's easy to start to abandon some. Rhonda says, may do a witchcraft. Does it dip in time have? Susan says, a new collab for me. So that's what I will try to finish. But when does the Capture by Radiance one start? That's a great idea. So we do have an affiliate. Rhonda is in the house, and perhaps she'll be able to help answer that. Linda says, Rhonda, haven't seen you rock paint. Uh-oh, not rock paint. Pretty sure she did. She went to the class that we had at the Great Lakes Retreat. um, Susan says, I remember that year. Rhonda says, done that. He's sitting on my windowsill. Uh-oh, rock painting is so fun, huh? Tammy says, my problem is most of mine are 60 by 80s or larger. So it just takes longer to finish them. Correct. I do think that played a critical part in how a lot of people started to experience slowdowns. They unfortunately, they took on larger projects. The projects took longer and longer. And again, you just got further and further away from that. Oh, I love this. This one was so fun. Because if you're diamond painting to like music or to TV shows, it starts to kind of set you into a moment in time. The next time you watch that TV show, you're remembering, oh, I was working on this project at the time that I was doing that. Or if you're listening to the radio and you used to listen in every day at a certain time, now you're diamond painting. That time comes and you hear certain commercials or they talk about something similar every time during this. Next thing you know, you're going to start to become nostalgic about diamond painting and things. So it's inevitable. And again, we kind of get away from those small nuances and things that connect us when we work those bigger projects. So hopefully everybody's working on at least on a project that's bringing them peace and zen and a lot of serenity. Because I definitely feel that that's what, ideally what crafting is about. Mindy is thinking of a Capture by Radiance event in October. That's for you, Susan. So make sure you stay tuned. Mindy's Diamond Moment, that is the name of her channel. So if you guys aren't familiar, you'll be able to, she goes live on Saturday evening. I believe she goes live at 4 my time, which is 6 Central time. So hopefully that helped you guys out. But that would be ideal if you guys are interested. Obviously, Capture by Radiance is a sponsor of the channel. So you do see a lot of communication and content. Rhonda, she's one of my moderators. She is an affiliate. Also, Lizzie, she is an affiliate. So you guys are always going to be able to reach out to them, get additional information. And shameless plug before I go, I'm an affiliate of Dreamer Designs. And so my last purchase of what's in my cart, that came from Dreamer Designs. So that's the other reason why Capture by Radiance is, featured so much, because I have the most canvases in my Capture by Radiance shopping cart. I think I'm up to 7, might be 6, but I believe it's 7 in there. And as you know, that means it's getting to the point where I'll be doing a purchase, because I usually try and purchase everything in my cart. So stay tuned for that. And hopefully, what I want to do, I mentioned it before, and forgive me, I have not done this, but I keep saying I'm going to open one of the canvases in my stash. And I didn't do that. I opened my Amazon ones because I had just got them. And I did those last week. And I also opened a cross stitch project. That project looked real, it was stamped though. So I don't know. This is gonna be my first time trying to work a stamp. I have several stamp projects I've just never done. It looks so busy on the on the fabric and stuff. So instead of using a digital pattern or using print, everything is on the actual canvas, and it just looks busy. Looks very, very busy. Uh, so with that said, another show of me rambling, but trying to, get you guys back into the fall and all of these exciting, collabs, crafting collabs. So any Netflix Asian show recommendations? um I am in the well, I always have Asian recommendations. You guys know my daily life is mini China, mini South Korea right now. So let's see. I know that my biggest recommendation was The Glory. I like that. I watched a show, but the only problem is this one right here is not it doesn't have English dubbing, so you would be reading. But it is so good, and it's called When the Phone Rings. I love the series a lot. It's about a husband and his mute wife. She has what they call selective mutism. That's where some kind of traumatic event, so traumatic, it caused them to lose the ability to speak. But because it's psychological, obviously at any time they can return to speaking and things like that. When the phone rings, interesting. Oh, Rhonda, it's good. It's really, really good. Um, and the male character, the male lead, he's very charming, especially as you continue to watch further into the series and stuff. You really feel for him and their plight and things like that. But it's good. It's really good. Netflix, Unknown Number, High School Catfish, a must see movie. I'll have to watch that. Selective mutism. I understand that. Yes. Is it scary? No, it's not. It does sound scary, and I thought when I first saw previews of it, because they made it, the trailer and stuff, they made it look, scary. The premise behind what occurred to them when they were younger is probably something frightening. So it was about the abuse of orphaned kids, and the fact that they were deemed as non-essential, not important. And so what occurred to these children spawned a series of events that brought like almost all the characters in the series into one another's life later on once they are adults. But it's really good. And it was everything action packed. It was some drama, and it was some romance, and so I like that also. And it wasn't like, I'm always talking about a knee tingle. There wasn't it wasn't knee tingle, but it was beautifully placed, the romantic moments. So I definitely enjoyed it, but I had to read the screens, so you're not gonna get any crafting done when you watch those. There was a few others that I would recommend. Obviously, When the Phone Rings, I thoroughly enjoyed. I watched another series. You had to read the screens also. That one is called Destined with You. That one was it was, I guess, a reborn type of trope where they knew each other in a past life, and they go back to the past life, and that part of the series was very beautiful also. And then how they transitioned them back into the current, that was nice. Yep, Destined with You. And then the last one that I really enjoyed, it was just a cornball series, but it was really good. It's called King Deland. And they're all, I think, Korean. Um, because the Chinese series, they don't be like 12 episodes and then we done. The Chinese series be like 32 episodes, 40 episodes. I mean, you be committed. They engrossing you in, and you are committed. If somebody die in the Chinese drama, you dying with them, like you that connected. So that one I told you guys about last week, Kill Me, Love Me. Whoo, that one right there, and it took me a while to watch it because it was like 34 episodes or something like that. So I was doing like 2 episodes a night, and I remember, I think it took me like 3 weeks to watch that one. So that's why you become connected. Like, oh, what happened was I was watching it as it was airing live on Netflix, so I didn't have the benefit of the whole series being available, and I could watch however many I wanted. I literally was watching like 2 episodes a week because that's how many they were releasing at the time. So that's horrible. But obviously, when you got extra time and stuff, and I've had a lot of time on my hands this year, I am still off from work. And King the Land, Kill Me, Love Me, Destined with You. Um, Yeah, yep. And then the other one would be When the Phone Rings. So definitely had a great time enjoying those. I do feel bad because I tried to, like, in between a couple of these, I tried to go back and watch Hallmark. I did. I tried. Hallmark, you got to step it up for me. Like, Glory was awesome. So Um, I watched Glory over the holiday. That was right around the time when I first had the stroke. And I was, trying to get my thoughts and everything. I think my brother had just passed. It might have been after my breakdown. And I needed something to really kind of just distract me and stuff. And I fell so much in love with these people is crazy. In the Glory, but the female lead and her boyfriend was just too crazy for her. He volunteered to do whatever she wanted. I'll be your tool. I'll kill whoever you want. Like, I'm like, wow, what? This is somebody that they were very like limited in their words. They weren't very talkative like me at all. So the fact that they had connected on that strong a level, if you watch it, it's like I said, there's a lot that's associated with like their history, and how they were treated in their youth, and then unfortunately they go on to seek their personal revenge. They go, on a quest and things, and it's hard when you're going on a quest to do it because you got to think of all the variables, and you got to figure out how this is going to play into that. And so they did an amazing job, whoever these story writers are, especially for the Glory. um I definitely like that. And then also for When the Phone Rings, the writing in these series, a lot of times they just they not I don't know, cupcakey. They not fluff, which is what I guess I had got used to when I was watching Hallmark so much. I don't watch like HBO or Cinemax because a lot of that, when you go away from the fluff, you come into sometimes, um filth. You go from the fluff to the filth, I guess is a good way to say it. So I do try to, I will be your executioner. Exactly what he said. So we were watching, it was my daughter and my aunt. We all watched that series together. And I'm like, he is gone for her. We were commenting, and I'm like, what? Did he just say that? Like, my aunt was like, they gotta get married. They got they gotta be together. He's this gone for her. So it was a good series though. I definitely thought it was a good series. I felt for her. She did a good job, her acting and stuff like that. You definitely was rooting for her. Um no matter what she had to do, you was rooting for her to get it done. So that's what you call like pulling someone in. I didn't feel any moral limitations. I didn't feel like you shouldn't do that. I was rooting her on. So that says a lot, about the characters and about how they conveyed their torment. Um, they definitely did a good job of the writing and things. And you'll see the same with When the Phone Rings. You know, um, there was a bad guy in that series that you can understand why he was like a bad guy. And when he started crying on the screen, I I remember crying, tearing up with him and things like that. Now he was a bad guy, we got to shoot him, and we got to either shoot him dead or put him in jail for life. We got some things that we have to do. But that's what I mean when I say the writing sometimes, the storyline can be so good that it can just pull you in, you can feel so connected. Added them all to my list. I don't think you'll be disappointed at all. So they're great, ways to just be able to, unwind, relax. They keep you glued to the screen. I love that when I can't wait till the next episode, or I don't want to go to sleep. Like, oh, I gotta finish this. And there's not 42 episodes or 34, I think is the norm. China will give you some lengthy ones. Kill Me, Love Me is Chinese. The others are South Korean. And China will have you. The Thursday Murder Club is really good. So there we go. Tammy just gave us one. Thursday Murder Club, so I'll be checking that out. Do you guys watch the reality shows on Netflix? Like I watched the show Building the Band. um that was good. That was something also that I was able to watch with my daughter, and what I liked about it is I could craft while I was watching it. So I was able to like work on my hands, because that's something that I have been struggling with. And so making sure I'm getting my feel back and things like that. So I like that. I started watching it. Well, I'm gonna have to check that out. Hopefully that's a good interesting one as well. We watched Making the Band. I'm gonna tell you, the band season 4, they fast became one of my favorites. They were amazing. They were a popular group. I think the only thing is they didn't win, and I felt that they should have. I don't think anyone was robbed at all. I think it actually came out the way that it should, but I just think the last two spots might have should have been flipped. And I don't think I'm the only person that felt like that. Do you watch the dating ones? So I think, what is it called? Love is Blind. Do anybody watch Love is Blind? That's a series right there that I watch. I usually watch the dating shows with my son, but my son has now been dating someone for about 6 months, and so I lost my road dog. You guys know Prince is also the one that crafts. My daughter doesn't like crafting, so we have to do other things because crafting isn't something she enjoys. And so Prince, he met someone. Dating is really crazy. So my their grandmother, she came out to visit a few weeks ago. It's been about 3 weeks. And she was talking to him, asking him a lot of detailed questions about dating and things like that. She says, so is this lady the one? He says, yeah, I think so. And she says, are you serious? Are you getting serious? And he says, yes, we're very serious. And she said, really? Very serious. Tia, did you know that? And I'm like, No, I didn't." And she said, well, are you serious enough to pop the question? He says, yes. And I'm like, wait, what? What? I didn't know we was this close. And she says, wow, I'm shocked. I can't believe that found someone and you're serious enough to ask them to marry you. And he like, wait, hold up, what, hold up. Um, Now they have spend the night, overnight night, where he goes to her place and spends the night. So obviously, after we asked these questions and that had been understood, that's why she asked if they were serious. And my son is like, wait, hold on, wait a minute. he was like, I didn't say anything about marrying her. She said, well, you said you serious and you gonna consider popping the question. Again, they've been dating 6 months and they have spend the night. He said I was gonna ask her to be my girlfriend. So, and I'm like, what? Um, that's what we mean by we getting serious. I'm about to say, will you be my girlfriend? So I wanted to explore that a little bit. I know it's not February, and I usually explore dating questions in February, but we are coming up on Sweetest Day, which is in October. November is the Sadie Hawkins turnaround dance, and that's where women get the opportunity to kind of be aggressive and go after the gentlemen in their sights. So what do we think about, oh yeah, after 6 months and we've had a lot of spend the nights, now I'm serious enough to ask them to be my girlfriend. Like if we haven't spent the night, aren't I already your girlfriend? Like I'm trying to figure that out. So if you guys can rein in and let me know, is this a different time, a different era where that means something different? Then, kind of let me know, especially if you have, significant others, or if you have, male children and things like that. What does that actually mean? Because I was shocked. I thought when he was saying, yeah, we getting serious, I automatically assumed that he was about to pop the question also. Bud is cracking up at your spend the night. Tell Bud I said hello. What's up, Bud? I'm just saying, if we have spend the night, we go together until I say we don't. That's my rule. So it's no, and again, it's probably a different time, a different era. But it's a different time, it's a different era. But when he said this, I was so shocked. Like, are we serious? Like, I thought he was coming around to saying that he's popping the question, gonna ask her to marry him also. Um, I'm glad to know, because I'm like, they only been like, I tell him all the time, we can't move too swift and too expeditiously because, they say you can hide a crack habit for at least a year before you start to see like real signs and stuff. So somebody's really trying, they can hide, certain characteristics that may take a while to come out. And so he said, we've been doing that sound like Bud too. Mary and Bud been having spend the night for over a year, huh? For several years. I think automatically they would be committed only to each other. That's how I feel, Tammy. I really do. So clearly, there was some communication that I wanted to have with him and things like that. And just because you guys have seen him on the show, he's very forward about like dating and trying to, find someone. And so I definitely applaud that he's always willing to come on and kind of talk about like his mindset and things. But I wanted to understand it because I really thought that she was already like his girlfriend. He would send texts like, hey, won't be in tonight, I'm spending the night. So I'm like, oh, okay. Um, there are serious nights and casual ones now. Oh, Linda, don't say that. So obviously, mentally I might be in a different era, in a different time and things like that. But the minute that I would have been asked or if I extended an invitation, that's the understanding. So, would you want to have a spend a night? And if the answer was yes, in my mind, this had a conversation. So we've been talking, and if you leave here tomorrow morning, um, that was offer acceptance. We got a contract now. That I'm the girlfriend. So that's how that conversation played in my head. Maybe Maybe I got to use actual words. I got to say stuff like, boy, if you spend the night, we go together for life. I probably should, hone in on that, make sure you're using the right words, the right verbiage. um, but like Linda said, because there are now casual nights and serious nights, I would probably have to focus on distinguishing. That way, I don't walk around here like, yeah, my man, and then my man then had spend the night with somebody else, and he didn't ask me the question, and I just assumed, and now there's gonna be some trouble. So I didn't know you asked to be girlfriends or boyfriends. Um, I think that is to avoid the confusion that I had just now, which is, you know, I thought when they was having spend the night that was them already being boyfriend and girlfriend. I was shocked. I was sitting, and she was diving deep. We were sitting in a restaurant at the time, and the waitress was listening to our conversation. She was standing, and she was busting up laughing. And he like, wait a minute, whoa, 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 whoa. I was just gonna ask her to be my girlfriend. I'm like, what you mean? She's not already your girlfriend, but y'all have spent a night. Like, this was probably a conversation that was so hilarious to overhear in a restaurant. But clearly, different era, different, epoch of time. Yeah, that just means that I got to get off this horse and start walking, and you getting reacquainted with terminology. That's what that means. My shoulders get me in trouble, but I'm able to rein in, because when I start shaking the shoulder a little too much, I and then I have to rein it back in. Like, I'm about to get in trouble. Like the cruise. If y'all remember the cross stitch cruise, yep, there was a lot of gentlemen commotions. And they was all trying to have spend the night for the duration of the cruise. And the funny thing about that is they have this term now that I learned on the cruise. It's called a cruise bay. And cruise bay means that just for the duration of the cruise, you my bay. You are my built-in girlfriend, and the benefits that come with being the bay or what so offer acceptance contract. um and I'm like, oh my goodness. And it's popular. It's like so popular, like people walk up like, how you doing today? I'm doing good. My name is, I forget, I think I met Earl, I met Herbert. um whew, I met I met a married man. He told me she didn't want to go on a cruise. He went without her, and he was looking for a cruise back. uh, Fun times, fun times. So with that said, obviously you guys rein in, kind of let me know if you are in the know, like, how the language is where you are. Are you someone that's single and can offer, if you are someone that's single and can offer insight, like we definitely gonna have Mary and Bud on Love is in the Air in February. It's coming up, and oh man, I would love to. I know y'all would too, but I know y'all would love to see them on Love is in the Air. But it's hilarious. But if you're somebody that is in the community, and you guys know, like you have friends, or like I said, young ones that are out there dating, what is their ritual, and how long does it take to become an actual girlfriend? You know, oh dear. uh, you should have felt that coming. Y'all should. I'm pretty sure we said something to you guys. Um, so Love is in the Air. That's one of that show, that time of the year, every year is just jam packed with people coming in and things like that. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you're making the announcement on your channel, Mary, so y'all can remember. uh, with that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead, and I know I said it wasn't going to be a 30-minute goodbye. It's only been a 24-minute goodbye. So I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. I will see you guys next week. Don't forget to stay tuned for me and Lizzie's. I think it's this coming Saturday, Morning Laughs with Lizzie and Tia, or Tia and Lizzie. Bye.